Welcome to Bartolomeo Meo, Mugiwara fans. In this video, we are going to talk about one of the Yonkos, Shanks, but not because of his role of one of the four emperors, but what can be deduced from his appearances. In spite of appearing just a few times in the story, Shanks could be the most important character of One Piece since, without him, there would be no story. Everything begins with him. He's introduced as the captain of a group of pirates who spend their days drinking in a bar on an island in the East Blue and interacting with a boy who is the main character of this story. Seeing this captain by then, he wasn't looking like what now we know he was. He was already a Yonko, who rivaled White Bear, Big Mom, and Kaido, and who had been in the crew of the King of the Pirates. Then, he was just an apprentice in the Oro Jackson. But something should happen between Shanks and Golden Roger for he to wear his legendary straw hat. What were these pirates doing there? Either it is accidental or they were there with a purpose. These are the two options. As this pirate band is showed as a group that used to party in one place for a while before moving to the next, it could be they just stopped there and Luffy would have caught their attention. The other option is that they went there with the aim of meeting Luffy and influence him. The thing is that this relationship between Shanks and Luffy ends up having four keys for the development of this story that we're still living. 1. That child decides he wants to be a pirate after meeting Shanks. Luffy himself and Garp, his grandpa, mention this change. 2. A very young Luffy acquires a key power for the future by eating a devil's fruit that seems to have been accidentally left within reach. As hard as it is to see an Akuma no Mi in the East Blue, Shanks pirates should bring it from far away, just to leave it like that at the bar next to the child. 3. When the pirates left the island, Shanks hands his straw hat to Luffy as a goodbye gift and tells him to return it to him when he becomes a great pirate. Now that we know that hat is historic, a national treasure, is not it too much a bet to give it to such a smart child as a symbol of the promise he will become a great pirate? I mean, that kid could easily fail in the attempt or even never try it, since he is the grandson of a big marine hero. 4. Shanks loses an arm saving Luffy from a Sea King. The same Sea King that Luffy defeats when leaving the island at 17 to become a pirate. But Shanks, one of the four emperors and with a powerful conqueror's haki, comes back from this fight with such a boon. There is no logic here. The loss of this arm will play a big role in the future and it's difficult to believe it was accidental. Aren't there too many accidents already? This missing arm is Shanks' bet, and as we'll see, the straw hat is what identifies who has Shanks' bet for. After Shanks left Luffy behind, there are few occasions in which we have seen him, although he hasn't stopped helping him. Let's see this. Next time we see Shanks is a brief encounter with Mihawk, who comes to talk about Luffy because of his first bounty apart. We keep this in mind. Mihawk and Shanks talk about Luffy, and they had talked about him before. The next thing we know about the Red Hat is he has set up a meeting with White Bear. This unprecedented meeting blows up alerts around the world. What are these emperors going to talk about? An alliance to conquer the world? A plan to defeat the other two Yonkos? Nope. It turns out that Shanks goes to Whitebeard's boat to discuss an internal issue of his crew. One of his subordinates has killed a Nakama for no apparent reason and has fled, and his commander is trying to capture the murderer to impart justice. This act seems logical, don't they? Well, it seems Shanks has set up this meeting just to ask Whitebeard to make Ace to stop looking for Blackbeard. This does not make any sense. Think about it. Of all the things that are happening in the world, this meeting is just for this? Obviously, White Bear answers that no way, it is indeed a ridiculous request. By then, with what we know now, that has all the logic. But then, was Shanks trying to prevent Marineford War to happen? It looks like if Shanks knew the future, but wait, he has done this before. The bet for Luffy is also as if he knew it. And about that bet, the meeting with Whitebeard shows what I said before about Shanks' arm. Since Shirohige asked him about it, and Shanks answered, literally, it is a bet for a new age. Here, he has sown a seed that will germinate in Marineford, when Whitebeard recognizes the Straw Hat in Luffy, which makes him to ask his crew for protecting Luffy, just after a few demonstrations of how that brat is. But not all these seeds germinate this well to Shanks at first, since Mihawk, who knows well his reasons, which we don't know, is in the other side of this war and says, "Forgive me, Red Hair. I will not go easy on him. Now then, Fate, will the life of a promised child from the next generation end here? If not, how will he escape from the Black Blade?" Here, Mihawk is giving us clues about what he has talked with Shanks about Luffy, and it seems that he's destined to something big, and Mihawk decides to put that fate to the test. Again, there is a talk about what will happen in the future. Mihawk didn't manage to finish Luffy because of the help he's receiving from others, but it seems that Marineford was really going to be the end of Luffy, because about the end of the war, when Ace has already died and Luffy is unconscious and his friends are fighting to save him, Akainu, who is determined to kill Luffy, hits him through Jinbei's body. At that moment, they're saved by Crocodile, but another admiral, Kizaru, is about to give the final hit to Luffy, and it's then when Shanks appears to save him. At that moment, it is shown like Shanks saves Kobe and he says he's there to stop the war, but his trustman, Beckman, is directly preventing Kizaru from killing Luffy. Is this Shanks' last help to Luffy? Not at all. The Straw Hats are at a key moment, about to enter to the new world, and are not ready to face what they're going to find there. So it happens the so-called time skip. 2 years of training for every member of the crew to become more powerful. And Luffy couldn't find a better mentor than the second of Goldie Roger, which teaches him everything about the Haki. But is it related with Shanks somehow? Well, if we recall the first words Rayleigh tells to Luffy, that straw hat really fits a fearless man like yourself. I've wanted to meet you, Monkey D. Luffy. It seems Rayleigh was waiting for Luffy, and later, at Shakey's bar, he explains how Shanks stopped by 10 years earlier, and, as happened with Whitebeard, he asked him about his missing arm. As they were friends, Shanks could give more details about Luffy, but yes, Rayleigh's wish to train Luffy is also coming from Shanks. And not only him, Mihawk, who is coming from testing Luffy's destiny of which Shanks talked to him, seems to be convinced since he agrees to such unreasonable request from Zoro as be trained by him to be able to defeat him. This could already have happened. There is a chance that Zoro is coming from the time skip having defeated Mihawk, and it would be shown to us in a flashback. It seems a good way to put this in the story, as doesn't seem is going to be room for this duel. So we're seeing how Straw Hat's path is being opened by Shanks along the way since the very beginning, and it seems that every time he appears is to help Luffy somehow. With this, when he meets the Gorosei, it's logic to think it was to prevent something or help Luffy. My bet is it was related to Blackbeard. And what about now in Wano? Luffy must defeat his first Yonko, and it seems there is a big power difference. Well, maybe it's another coincidence, but in Marineford, we were told that two emperors had clashed in the New World, Shanks and Kaido. And after the time skip, accidentally, it turns out that it is decided it will be Kaido the first Yonko Luffy is going to try to defeat. If we keep thinking that every move from Shanks is to help Luffy, it could be that was for it too. If, for instance, we later find out that it was Shanks the one that made that big scar that Kaido has, and besides, it plays a determining role when Luffy defeats Kaido, we could take that as a demonstration of what is stated here. At least we know from this flashback on screen that Kaido did not have the scar 20 years ago. But what does seem clear, at least for me, is that Shanks has information about the future. It's the only thing that explains his actions. So, where is this information coming from? Well, there are several options. The first thing that could come to mind is, knowing his haki is very advanced, it is to take observation haki to the extreme. I don't believe this can be possible because Rayleigh, who knows well haki and knows well Shanks, when he's teaching Luffy about observation haki, says there are some people who can see slightly in the future. It wouldn't make sense for him to lie to Luffy here if he knows haki could go further. Besides, it is very difficult to manage this option when it is open for any other character. I think it must be something exclusive. For something exclusive or unique, the first thing that comes to mind is a devil fruit. That could be an explanation, but we know from Shanks' Bible card he is not a devil's fruits user. Is there any more options? Yes, more than one. It can still be the power of a devil fruit, but the user is not him, but someone of his trust. This way he still would have access to this information. But this option is not looking good for me because the fame wouldn't be for him, but for the one with the power. The option I think fits more here and explains everything he has done is that he's a seer, like a fortune teller. No fruit is necessary for this, and Oda has already introduced this power in One Piece with Madame Shirley. We could explain how Shanks can do something about things that are still to happen, and would explain this inexplicable consideration he has from the people in power. When he asked to Sengoku about taking the bodies of Ace and White Bear, he agrees, saying it is just because it's him. When he appears in front of the Gorosei, they say they have agreed to meet because it was him. This behavior would be explained if these people know that he might bring valuable and reliable information from the future. There is one more thing to analyze here: the quality of this information. Is he able to see everything is going to happen, or has he just visions of specific things? The clues are not enough to decide which option is correct. On one hand, we have that Luffy has been close to die many other times and Chance has not appeared, which seems to point to specific visions. But if he has complete knowledge of the future, he might also know that Luffy was going to survive without his help anyway. If I have to choose, I would take the option with the visions, which is more limited and easy for Oda to handle. In the same way Madame Shirley saw someone with a straw hat will destroy Fishman Island, Shanks could see that the next king of the pirates who will bring the new age was that child in the East Blue and do something about it. Or he already had a request from Goldie Roger, or whatever Oda will come as motivation to add like that. The pieces seem to fit quite well on this theory. Let's see how true it will be. And there is room for a second part because Shanks is not the only character that has been helping Luffy on his way. There is another one that has been doing something similar, but without knowing the future. We'll talk about him in another video. In any case, I hope you like it, and if so, we might meet in another video. See ya!